What is up, guys? My name is Sitka Regan, and we are back on F1 24 Driver Career. This is Season 2, Episode number 8 today for the Belgian Grand Prix. Coming up. So we are coming off a crazy Grand Prix around Great Britain. Go check out that episode first if you haven't seen it yet before you see this one, where there was controversy all over that race. Yuki Tsunoda overtook us under safety car. It was raining the entire race. There was drama all over the track as Verstappen had to retire very early in the race after he went very deep at Stowe, rejoined the track, took heavy damage with a collision, and Esteban Ocon lost the back end in Copse, ending his day after he was collected by Valtteri Bottas behind him, and that brought out a red flag. After the red flag, we were unable to attack Tsunoda. He just ran away with the race win, but we were able to bring home second place.
Okay, mate, I'm pleased to say that our new parts have come through without any issue, so they'll be on the car, ready for the next race weekend.
So we will have a major drag reduction upgrade, a minor fuel efficiency upgrade, and a minor engine power upgrade heading into Belgium. We are very nearly ready to overtake Ferrari in the development of our car this season. It's coming along very nicely. And as we look at the development chart, we've drawn very nearly even with Ferrari as the 5th best team. But the top 5 and ourselves, there's very little between us. Let's see if we can extend our lead in the Drivers' Championship, or if Verstappen and Red Bull have a strong response. Let's head to qualifying.
Heady elevation changes and dramatic corners. What is there not to love about today? It's qualifying day here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Checks complete. Everyone be aware, we've got a car leaving the garage.
So this was my best run of Q1. I went back out on the same set of tires I did my first run on. They're a little bit worn, as it's a very long lap around Spa. We had a little bit of a lockup into La Source. Our first lap should be good enough to see us through, but I didn't want to take any risks as the track ramps up and gets rubbered in. As we head up the hill towards the Kemmel Straight, we will be very fast in a straight line, as I decided to go with the lower downforce setup. So we'll be very fast through sectors 1 and 3. We might struggle a little bit through sector 2, but I think the trade-off will be worth it. About a tenth up on our first lap as we head towards Rivage. Our strength really will be in a straight line, as we got 2 upgrades heading into this race that'll help us in a straight line, and the very low wings I decided to run. Nearly 3/10 up as we go through Pouan. Little bit of a lift. Just to play it safe, I want to get this lap in. Just need to see our way through into Q2. Little bit of a snap on the exit of Fania as I caught that inside curb with my left tire. As we head through Stavelot, little bit of a lockup heading into the corner, but we're able to carry the speed, able to do a personal best in the second sector. Heading into the third sector, which will be a very strong sector for us, through Blanchimont, where we can really take advantage of the straight line speed of our car and its setup. As we head into the bus stop chicane, have a little bit of a lockup, had to use a little bit of cadence braking, still able to get it turned in, and I'm going to finish the lap a little over a tenth and a half up. Good enough for second for the moment, and good enough to see us through into Q2 in second. A little over 2/10 off Verstappen on a fairly scruffy lap. Our teammate has a good result, making his way through in 10th, as we lose both Williams, both V-Carbs, and one of the Kick Saubers of Zhou.
We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes.
So final run of Q2. I have done my first banker lap, which was good enough for 7th on a very used set of softs from Q1. The warning of rain caught me out a little bit, as it wasn't predicted on the weather and during qualifying before the race. So I went out with a little bit of time to spare just to make sure I could get a dry lap in. We'll see if it is going to rain, for one, and for two, if any of the drivers are going to get caught out with the incoming inclement weather. As I head down the Kemmel Straight, trying to maximize my battery usage, in Sector 1 so that I have enough left after Sector 2 for the long run through Belgium-Spa up to the bus stop chicane. Pretty good run through the Les Comps chicane and Malmedy as we head into Rivage. This is the part of the lap that I'll be sacrificing downforce for with the much lower wings so that I have a much faster car in sectors 1 and 3. Nearly half a second up as we head towards the coolest corner on the track, Huan. Little bit of a lift as our wings are so low, I haven't risked going flat out through it yet. Decent run through Fania, avoiding that inside curb that unsettled the car during Q1. Pretty good exit out of Stavolo. Now it's just going to be using the battery and running flat out up until the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. 6/10 up now. Should be plenty of time to see us through into Q3 with no sign of the wet weather yet. Into the bus stop. A slight hesitation mid-corner that's going to cost us a little bit of time. Still going to finish the lap 6/10 up, and that's good enough for provisional pole for the moment. And good enough to see us through into Q3 in 4th. 3/10 off Verstappen, who has topped both sessions so far. Our teammate, unfortunately, is knocked out down in 14th. Unable to find the pace that he had in Q1. He might have been caught out with the weather.
All set, we're ready to go, so let's get the car out onto the track.
So Hülkenberg was out-qualified by a Sauber of Bottas. We're only 17 points back of Ferrari for second in the Constructors. I need Hülkenberg to step it up and score some points as I have a lockup and run very deep into La Source. So as you can see, the track is dry or drying. There was a rain shower. We all went out and did our first laps on inters, but the track has dried enough for us to do our final runs on slicks, but the track is definitely not fully dry yet, as witnessed with my run through La Source. So we're going to be tiptoeing around the lap right now as we go through the Les Comps chicane, trying to pick our braking points on a better track than our first lap for sure, but the track is still a bit of an unknown quantity as it's drying as we run wide in Rivage, running onto that exit curb on the left. And as I waited as long as I could to come out of the garage with the track in its best condition following that impromptu rainstorm, and the AI will definitely be better at sussing out where the track is still a little bit wet and slick as we get a little bit of understeer through the Fania chicane. We were always going to struggle a little bit through Sector 2 with the low wings, but with the damp track, I'm definitely struggling more as the times at the front of the grid are constantly tumbling. Each person that crosses the line is setting the new fastest lap, showing the track is improving incrementally with each driver going through it, burning the rest of my battery through Belgium-Spa and on the run towards the bus stop. This was definitely a bit of a scruffy lap as we have a bit of a wiggle through the bus stop, and that's going to cost us on the exit of the corner to the line. And that is only good enough for 6th. So a disappointing Q3 with the rainstorm.
Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So Verstappen does manage to top every session and take pole by just 3/100ths over Norris. And we'll be starting on the 3rd row next to our rival Sonoda. Let's head to the grid.
Welcome to this visit to the Ardennes countryside. Spa-Francorchamps hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925, and this historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike, and us here in the commentary box too. So it's a warm welcome from the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 meters of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Sonoda, Haas, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Stroll, Bottas, Norris, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Joe, Ricciardo, Albon, Sainz, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
So we will be doing the soft to medium strategy. We definitely have good enough tire wear upgrades to pull off that strategy now. And we have the option to go to the hards if we need to, or if an opportunity arises with an early safety car.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
We should definitely have a good opportunity to win this race. We're set up to be very fast in a straight line, very good for overtaking. We should be able to work our way up to the front.
Decent parking. Let's try and get a good launch as the lights go out.
And the 5 red lights. The Belgian Grand Prix is underway. We get a decent launch. We definitely need to stay out of trouble early into La Source, the scene of many an early race-ending incident, as I think that's Russell making contact with the rear of our car. Really held us up through the first corner, as Bottas making an aggressive run on us, threatening to go side by side up Eau Rouge and Radion, but Bottas backs out of it, and he is up 4 places, having started in 11th. He has made his way up to 7th, so a very good start for the Kicksauber. And at the front of the field, we're seeing a battle over second place between Leclerc and Perez, as Verstappen has gotten away in the lead, and Leclerc clears Perez, and Alonso has made a move up the inside of Perez as well, dropping the Red Bull down to 4th. So a sneaky little move by Alonso gets himself up into 3rd. As I try to stick to the back of Tsunoda through Sector 2, we should be able to make good gains on him coming up here in Sector 3, and it's very important that we quickly get past Tsunoda, as he is on the medium tire and will be going longer. And our tire should be the faster one at this point in the race, as we're going to make a late move up the inside of Tsunoda. We bang tires going around the outside of the bus stop chicane, still even, and now we've cleared Tsunoda.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
And made our way up into 5th, and that was an important move to get done early. 1 lap later, we've caught the back of Perez as we attack the Red Bull for 4th. Perez goes defensive, but with our low wings and the DRS, we are able to clear the Red Bull before the Les Comps chicane and make our way up into 4th. By the end of lap 3, we are approaching the DRS of Alonso, as he has been held up by the battle for the lead between Verstappen and Leclerc.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Our race pace is proving even stronger than I could have hoped for. The low wings are really working for us. Sacrificing a little bit of qualifying pace for race pace has proved to be the correct decision today, as we head up Eau Rouge and Radion, only half a second back of Alonso.
Okay, mate, Alonso's ahead of you. Right, here we go. Let's look to get past quickly and put them on the back foot.
And now Mark is giving us the hurry up to get past Alonso. Made good gains, but we couldn't quite catch the Aston Martin, as he also had the DRS on Verstappen ahead. But 1 lap later, as we chase Alonso up Eau Rouge and Radion towards the Kemmel Straight, we are a lot closer than we were last lap, as just ahead of us, Leclerc goes defensive on Verstappen, but Alonso decides not to go defensive, and we go up the inside, up into 3rd, into the podium positions, and I was very surprised Alonso decided not to defend that. The Aston Martin has managed to stay pretty close to us, but we are within the DRS of Verstappen in 2nd, and he's the driver we mainly want to get ahead of, and him battling Leclerc has really helped us close the gap on these front runners. Getting ahead of Leclerc would also be good for us in the constructors battle, as we are only 17 points back of Ferrari for 2nd, but I would need some help from Hulkenberg to get up ahead of Tsunoda for us to make any real progress in closing down that gap to 2nd to Ferrari, as Verstappen is closing right up to the back of Leclerc on the exit of Stavelot as we head towards Blanchimont. Alonso looks like he wanted to put in a challenge on us, but our straight line speed has shut down that advance. And this battle has continued up the hill through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, with Verstappen deciding to wait until the DRS zone to challenge Leclerc. But Verstappen is harvesting battery very early down the Kemmel Straight, and this may give us an opportunity to go up the inside of the Red Bull.
You hit that target. Really good job.
We made a little bit of contact, had a big snap of oversteer, but we managed to make our way up into second, catching our championship rival completely by surprise, as he was so focused on Leclerc ahead that he didn't see us come up the inside into the Les Comps chicane. And one lap later, as we chase Leclerc towards the Kemmel Straight, we're going to have a golden opportunity to attack the Ferrari for the lead of the race. As we tuck into a slipstream and open up the DRS, Leclerc goes defensive, but the difference in straight line speed is staggering as we go round the outside through the Les Comps chicane and take the lead for the first time today. And on lap 8, we haven't been able to break the DRS to Leclerc, but our straight line speed is enough to keep us just ahead of the Ferrari. But the second Ferrari of Tsunoda is going up the inside of Perez in the second Red Bull, showing that the medium tires are now the faster tire to be on, and that the softs may be falling off, as Tsunoda is closing up to all of us front runners on the softs. So I'm going to take that as an indicator to pit at the end of lap 9, one lap earlier than my predicted pit stop. So we'll see if the undercut pays off for us, as Leclerc, Verstappen, and Alonso have all decided to stay out. We need a good pit stop from the crew. And we do get a clean pit stop. So our next step,
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
will be a strong outlap and see if we can maximize this undercut. Unfortunately, we came out just behind Sargent in the Williams, so we can't allow the Williams driver to hold us up too much.
Okay, mate, let's try and climb up the order if we can. We're setting you a new target. Push, push.
And that new target is to clear Sargent as quickly as possible, as he is on the soft still and will really hold us up. If we can't clear him quickly, it might allow Verstappen and Leclerc to overcut us by staying out one additional lap, as we are definitely getting held up by the Williams, as Sargent places his car perfectly through No Name Corner and manages to keep us behind through Pouan, with a wash of dirty air giving us some understeer. He cuts across to the inside. We're going to have to make an aggressive move.
Yes, mate, we hit the target. Nice work.
Finally clearing Sargent on the entry to the Fagnes chicane. As we come through Stavelot, we do have a nice gap of free air in front of us now to really unleash the pace of these brand new medium tires. As one lap later, we see Alonso battling Leclerc, and both of them have also been held up by the Williams of Sargent. So Sargent not just being a menace to our race, but to the other race leaders as well, as he finally peels off into the pits, having run those softs nearly half the race, as Leclerc manages to get ahead of Alonso and Verstappen into La Source, as Tsunoda on very old mediums is holding up his teammate who has just pitted, as Tsunoda, Ocon, and Gasly, the two front runners, are the only three to not pit yet. As Leclerc attacks Tsunoda, there should be team orders at Ferrari for Tsunoda to allow Leclerc through on the much fresher tires, and for Tsunoda to hold up all the other race leaders as long as he can through Sector 2, as those Ferraris are definitely in different races. As Ocon in the Alpine finally pits ahead of us on those old mediums, leaving only Gasly 2.7 ahead of us on very old and very slow mediums.
Gap to your teammate behind, 0.6 seconds.
We are in the net race lead at the moment, with Gasly having not made his pit stop. But we can't afford Gasly to slow us down like Sargent did. Our undercut still worked, giving us a 4-second gap to Leclerc, but the gap could have been much larger had we not been held up by Sargent on our outlap. And we are catching a very slow Gasly on those very old mediums just as we get to the bus stop chicane, but Gasly peels off into the pits, so he doesn't hold us up too much, as we very nearly ran into the back of the Alpine, as he was so slow through the apex. I guess we did run into the back. We're lucky we didn't pick up any wing damage. And lap 14, Verstappen is going very slow towards Eau Rouge, It looks like the Red Bull has some sort of critical issue, and it looks like Verstappen's again been bit by the unreliability bug. He has had a very unlucky season, and by contrast, we have had a very lucky season.
Information on Verstappen. Okay, it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
And there is the official announcement. Verstappen is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. So I have again been gifted a huge opportunity to extend my points lead over Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. I really need to maximize opportunities like this when they arise. As a little bit further back in the field, we see Norris attacking Stroll for 7th. The McLarens haven't had very good pace all weekend, as Norris does manage to move up into 7th, but his teammate Piastri is down in 11th, chasing our teammate for the final points position. And later on lap 16, Perez is tucked right up behind Tsunoda. Tsunoda, who put the hards on after running long on the mediums. I don't really understand Ferrari's strategy call there. Perez seemingly finding better pace on the mediums, does manage to finish off the move for 3rd as they head towards La Source, and Alonso now attacking Tsunoda. The Ferrari and Aston Martin go side by side through the first corner, with Alonso gaining the advantage, and Russell right behind the Ferrari looking keen to attack as well. Tsunoda is trying to fight back on Alonso with the DRS down the Kemmel Straight as they go side by side into the Les Comps chicane, but with Alonso getting the better grip on the mediums through Malmedy, and Alonso manages to hold on to 4th. And at the end of lap 17, Tsunoda is seemingly struggling for pace on the hards, coming under attack from Russell through the bus stop chicane, so a questionable strategy choice by Ferrari is really hurting their second driver's opportunity in this race, as Russell has finished off the move on Tsunoda, heading into La Source. Those hard tires might benefit Tsunoda on the last lap, the last 2 laps, but it's really hurt his race so far. But our race has seemingly gone perfect, as I've opened up a 6-second gap to Leclerc in 2nd place, and I've just been managing my pace to keep a 5.5 to 6-second gap to Leclerc, manage the tire wear. Every decision that myself and the team have made this weekend has seemingly gone perfectly, as we've nailed the strategy. The setup feels incredibly stable, but fast. Definitely our strongest weekend as a team and for me as a driver. As Tsunoda's weekend continues to go downhill, having lost positions to Russell and Norris, he's now been relegated to 8th behind Stroll in the 2nd Aston Martin. As I head up Eau Rouge and Raidillon on the penultimate lap of the race, still managing that 6-second gap to Leclerc in 2nd. This race can't end soon enough for me, as I just want to bring it home for the win. And if we do manage to bring home the victory, it'll extend our lead in the Drivers' Championship from 12 all the way up to 37, with Verstappen having suffered another DNF with another mechanical gremlin in that Red Bull. As we head into Zandvoort next week, heading towards Blanchimont, Tsunoda's coming under pressure from Piastri in the 2nd McLaren. Piastri managing to switch those hards on a lot better than Tsunoda has. Tsunoda does manage to keep Piastri behind through the bus stop chicane, but he's going to have to defend from the McLaren for 2 DRS zones.
Okay, mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap.
Heading into La Source one last time. All we have to do is finish this lap and we will open up our biggest lead in the Drivers' Championship of the entire season. Tsunoda is desperately trying to hang on to 9th, defending with everything he has against Piastri down the Kemmel Straight. With Piastri having the DRS, I don't think there's much Tsunoda can do to defend here. The McLaren has made his way up into 9th, dropping Tsunoda down to 10th. And I think if we had one more lap in this race, our teammate may have been able to overtake Tsunoda for 10th as well, as the 2nd Ferrari is really struggling for pace on those hards. As we head towards the bus stop chicane, Leclerc has been able to close up a little bit on us, but we still have a 5-second gap to the Ferrari. Little bit of wheel spin on the exit, but it's not gonna matter. We're gonna win the Belgian Grand Prix.
This one's for you.
Closing out one of our strongest races over our 2 years in Formula One. Leclerc will come around to finish 2nd. Perez rounds out the podium in the 2nd Red Bull.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they persevered to take the win here today.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or looked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they were able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
The quality and fantastic result of the Haas team will have been noticed by everybody else out there today, and you can see why everyone's taking them so seriously. These drivers will be hot property by the end of the season.
So we pick up a very strong win around Belgium, maximizing the points on offer with Verstappen's retirement, which is good because I think we're going to struggle with the characteristics of our car around Zandvoort. And you know Verstappen will be looking to bounce back strong around his home circuit. And in the constructors, we made another small gain with Leclerc finishing second and Tsunoda only managing to gather 1 point in 10th as his pace faltered in the second stint of the race. Unfortunately, our teammate finished just outside the points, just behind Tsunoda in 11th. So with the fastest lap and Tsunoda grabbing a point in 10th, we're able to gain 4 points in the constructors on Ferrari. Definitely could have used some assistance from Hülkenberg in this race to make a bigger dent in Ferrari's lead over us in the constructors. But in the Drivers' Championship, we have managed to open up a 37-point gap over Verstappen. The Dutchman is having a very unfortunate year reliability-wise, which has definitely helped open the door for us in the Drivers' Championship. And in the Constructors, we've narrowed the gap to Ferrari to just 12 points to second place. So my secondary goal within the season also looks to be nearly attainable. And we pick up a huge ratings boost with our rivalry win against Verstappen. And his difficult season with reliability also helped us accomplish that goal. We also win our rivalry against Tsunoda, so we'll also get a nice ratings boost for that as well. And on a personal level, it's very satisfying, showing the grid and Ferrari that they made the wrong choice in driver at the end of last season, going outside the Ferrari Academy to sign another driver instead of promoting from within. And our recognition within the team is still 6 percentage points higher over Hülkenberg. He has been showing stronger over the last few races, but we've definitely assumed the #1 driver role within the team, and they've definitely thrown their support behind me as their #1 driver. So as we prepare for Zandvoort, we will have a season break in between these two races, a moment to reflect on the success we've had over the first half of the season. A 37-point lead is amazing heading into the second half of the season. Let's see if we can carry that momentum all the way to Abu Dhabi. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for this week. I'll see you next week at Zandvoort. Goodbye.